The Departed gets a fact check by a former member of two notorious gangs in both Hong Kong and New York. Johnny Sui says the movie's unrealistic portrayal includes a machine gun-wielding Chinese gang member at a deal and an interpreter relaying dialogue. Despite its inaccuracies, The Departed was a critical and box office success, earning 4 Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Director. Internal Affairs, the movie it's based on, and its sequels are available in a new 4K box set from Criterion Collection. The Departed, directed by Martin Scorsese, was released in 2006 and is considered one of the best movies of that year. It's one of many gangster pictures by Scorsese, but despite its critical acclaim, it was recently singled out for its inaccurate portrayal of certain criminal details. In a recent Insider video, Jimmy Sui, a former member of the notorious criminal gangs Sun Yi-on in Hong Kong and Tung-on in New York City, broke down one scene in the movie where Jack Nicholson's character, Frank Costello, leads his crew in negotiations with Chinese criminals to sell stolen microprocessors. He ultimately gave it an accuracy score of 5 out of 10, and here's why. The scene begins with something that Nicholson's character even points out to be ridiculous: a member of the Chinese gang brings a machine gun to their deal. "Why would you carry a machine gun?" asked Sui. "Only when you start a war would you carry a machine gun. Hong Kong triad, you can think of as a business. Anything which is profitable, they will do it. So they don't care who they are dealing with as long as it's of interest. I heard of working with the Mexican cartel, the Italian Mafia, the Thai Mafia, Japan's Yakuza, but I've never heard of the Irish Mafia before." Next, the scene features an interpreter relaying the words of Nicholson's character to the Chinese gang's lead representative. Sui found this scene to be very inaccurate, specifically because of how the interpretation goes down. "Okay, honestly, I never have heard of having an interpreter do this. Just like I've seen before, dealing with Thailand's people, you find someone who can speak Thai. With Japanese people, find someone who can speak Japanese. We are not going to hire someone to be the interpreter and doing this thing," said Sui, who added, "With a triad member dealing with some other group, and someone, like Jack Nicholson's character, gets this kind of behavior and attitude, I think I go to quit. I go turn around, cancel it. We are doing business. We are not fighting each other. There's one bigger and there's no one higher. And doing this kind of deal, it's only in the movies. They try to buy microprocessors from them. How are you going to prove that it's real or not? In mainland China, they have a lot of counterfeit, any part, like watches, suits, sneakers, jewelry. If they want to buy a product, why didn't they just make a counterfeit? It's a lot cheaper and easier. For this movie, I'm going to rate it 5. In reality, it's not going to happen." Jimmy Sui went on to assess the realism of Internal Affairs, the Chinese movie that The Departed is based on. He would say that while the scene he reviewed wasn't completely realistic, it was a lot closer to what a real scenario like this feels like, ultimately giving the scene an 8 out of 10. The only part in the scene he took umbrage with is one of the criminals shouting in public that they have the goods. Despite its lack of utter realism, Scorsese's 2006 film was a big success at the box office. The movie generated $291 million on a $90 million budget. The film reached the peak of critical acclaim, garnering 5 Oscar nominations and netting 4 awards, including Best Picture and Best Director in 2007. It's another in the long line of classic Martin Scorsese films, just adding to his legendary resume. You can watch it on AMC Plus through the link below or rent it on digital platforms like Apple TV+. Meanwhile, Internal Affairs is streaming on Max, and the trilogy is part of a new 4K UHD Criterion Collection box set.